Uno, dos, tres. Probando. Microphone check. 1, 2, 1, 2. There's some healing going on inside me. I can feel it very strong in my vibration. I go up and down and round and everywhere. I laugh, I cry, I shout out in despair. But I know it's a part of the process I have to bear. My emotions are helping me see myself very clear. That song was given to me about, I don't know the exact date. It had to be about 2 years ago. It had to be about 2 years ago. I get a lot of songs that just come in my head for the reason, and they just kind of come out. And I knew that this was for me. And so I'm sharing it with you because I want you to remember that. I want you to remember what is going on and how important it is for you to recognize what is happening within you and know that you are the one that can heal it. You're the only one that can. Hola, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Sacral Chakra Healing. Your sexual nature. I am Minister SCG 13, and I am accompanied by Minister Symphony from Mother of Pearls Ministry. Hola, welcome. I know.
Hola.
Yes, I know that you have some things going on, so I don't, just let me know what's good. We gonna have this conversation. We ready to forgive ourselves for abusing our vaginas?
It's a step by step everyday thing. So let's get it on. Let's keep going.
All right, let's get it. This topic last week we talked about forgiving your vagina for being a hoe. And if you didn't check that out, you can go to mastervibration13.com. You can check it out there. And it's what it was. And so you can check out that podcast for that. But we're moving forward in this process of forgiveness and forgiving ourselves and forgiving others that have trespassed against us, and like real true forgiveness with the awareness of what forgiveness is and what forgiveness feels like. And so when we talk about the sexual abuse of the vagina and our own abuse of the vagina is way beyond physical. It starts with the mental. It starts with your thoughts and your ideas about your vagina, and we live in a society where I don't have to tell any women, I don't really have to take a survey and ask women what their thoughts and what their feelings were or have been about their vaginas. Maybe now there's more of a freedom, where women are, they're taking their power and they're saying, yeah, I own my femininity, and like all of that is happening. But there's a whole nother side to that as well. Okay? Because there's a duality that's absolutely necessary. And so this and I need I need for all to know and to recognize that when it comes to the sacredness of the divine feminine and the divine masculine, it is essential. And we all have it, and we all have both. But it is very important when you have the divine masculine and the divine feminine working together. That's power. That's power. And there's no other way to put it. So I will never sit here and say, oh, just, power to the women and like forget about a man. We're not even, this is about balance and harmony and being able to really get to that point where we can coexist in harmony with each other. Because that hasn't been the case in our relationships with our partners. It just hasn't been. And we know that. We see it all the time. And that has to do with ourselves. It has nothing to do with that partner. And okay, it has something to do with that partner. But what I will say, and we were talking about this last night on the Grand Rising of the Matriarch, is that it's what we're creating. We created this. We are creating these experiences, these people that come along is created by us. And so it all begins in your vagina and your womb. And so if you haven't, someone asked me about doing this service and it be about, women that maybe haven't really, paid that much attention to that area there. Well, see, that is true. Also abuse. That is the misuse of power that's still happening. So, people they think that it's dramatic, but it is dramatic when I talk about sexual abuse and we are sexually abusing our own wombs and vaginas. When you enter, anything that goes within you is in you. And I think we've already said this enough and have practiced this enough, at least are aware of this knowledge that when an individual goes inside of you, specifically a male, and if a male ejaculates inside of you, his DNA is going to exist in you for the rest of your life. And so beyond that is that tube that is created, that energetic tube that is created between you and the people that you consume. That's like, it's like, it doesn't leave you, and your unawareness of it does not make it go away. And so when it comes to women, and I have to say that I do speak to women that have experienced sexual trauma via sexual abuse, be it rape, sexual abuse, manipulation, all kinds of different forms. But I speak to what my experience is. And so what I will say is that when it comes to this sexual abuse, and when it starts happening to an individual, in my situation, it happened at a young age. So in this young age, my body already started receiving the energy of the individuals that were trespassing against me. And so this energy sat within me. And as a little girl, how do what do you do with that? You don't know what to do with that. That's not anything that you could really, but here it begins. You do recognize that this area, this that I have, this vagina in between my legs, boy, it makes people do some crazy stuff. It makes people do some really bad things. And it's like, and I better shut up. I better never say anything about it, because see, those abusers and those people that will manipulate young children, they groom them. So they're already programming them in their minds to what will happen. And this is what it is. And there's so much information that's going in this little young baby mind. And the only thing that is functioning within that person, within that little child, is fear. And it's a fear that is, that you feel that the only thing that's going to keep you safe is just being silent, because you're within a family and you're existing in this family and you feel the comfort of your family. But now you have this thing that is saying that if you open your mouth, if you say anything, all of that is going to be gone. All of that is going to be over. And in your young little baby mind, you're believing this. And so this belief that I, even in my young baby mind, absorbed and started believing it, right? It's still a sexual energy. Creation is sexual energy. So know that this that was said to me, these lies that were said to me, these things that were said to me is sexual energy. And when it's being used in a form, in a little child, in a sexual way, I mean, what do you really think is happening to the mind? Like when you really, really think about it. And the child, that's all they know is that these people, these adults, because I'm talking about sexual abuse via adults, they know this manipulation. And a lot of times they know it because they learned it because it was done to them as well. And in this world that we live in, that seems to be the story of most. But this information going into this young mind like that starts to develop a lot of different cells and a lot of different things. And without the protection of your ancestors, without the protection of the Most High, the source, without that protection, an energy will not be able to exist. And so this is why I talk about this stuff today, because I know who I am, and I know that my life is a testimony. And so I have to share these things. I didn't want to, but it's part of what I have to do. And so I'm doing it gladly, because it's important for parents, for people to recognize not only the damage, but to recognize the power in the healing of the mother. If you missed it, last night, the grand rising of the matriarch, they talked about what are you creating in your darkness? What's coming out of that darkness? What is birthing out of that darkness? And so many gems and so many things. And see, I learned, and I shared this last night, that see, I come from the womb that I came out of was also abused. The womb that I came out of was abused at 6. I was abused at 5. When you look at the energetic connection, when you see that you are your mother's child, you are. And so this sexual energy that was created in my, that the part of the formula with my father's semen and my mom's energy and all of everything that was my father as well, all came pouring into me, this seed, this being. But see, it's not my first incarnation here. I chose that. It was something that I needed to do. I needed to experience all of the things that I experienced so that I can come here and do this and show that, yes, it can be done. Yes, you can survive those things. You can survive anything. There is nothing that you can't do. And the power of the vagina and the womb is immeasurable. Everybody knows it and they feel it, but to speak it is taboo. Well, it ain't no more. It's not here. And so in this little young mind, these thoughts and these ideas and these feelings and all of these things that are starting to happen. And so when this is happening within the mind of a little sexual energy goddess, an individual that has been here for this, there are a lot of things that continue to be created. But never, ever once was I ever abandoned, because even as a small child, grew up Catholic, when my father was Pentecostal, the Most High, she was always with me, even as a little girl. And I misinterpreted as different things, and I never really spoke to anybody about my gifts. But trust and believe that the people that have had these occurrences in their lives, these opportunities to evolve and train, there is a whole allegiance of ancestors and guides and the angelic realm. And I mean, whatever beneficial force you can imagine is connected to you. Now, don't get it twisted. The darkness is also connected to you. But it is for you to be able to navigate that. And that's what the journey is. That's what the experience is. So when you, even before I tapped in, I was tapped in. They were always looking for me. They were always giving me information. They were always giving me something. And I always knew it was something in me. And I looked for it. I looked for it my whole life. And it's not until now, where I am now, that I have truly found it and have been able to truly work with it. But the practice does not stop. This forgiveness that I have to forgive myself for, it doesn't stop. There's layers to it, and it keeps happening, and different things. And as like when you get a room really nice and clean, as soon as you see a little spot of dirt, that spot of dirt stands out. It stands out super loud. And so this is what happens during our journey of self-healing, is that as soon as we start getting things nice and cleaned up, something else happens. And you better believe that everything that's happening is an opportunity for you to evolve, because that is what this life is about. This is what I've discovered. There have been so many lessons in the journey, that once you connect that piece of what it is that's causing you blockages within your own self, once you find what is causing that blockage within your own self, and you make that connection within yourself, everything will be answered. You will know what you have to know to keep moving forward. I forgive myself for ignoring my sexuality, my hiding behind my sexual gifts. I forgive myself for the manipulation that my vagina did. Sometimes when you say things, it hits different. A sexual energy goddess has great power. When she is ignorant of her power, she can use the skill, the natural, organic skill that she has with her vagina, with that power that exists all in her, that she is able to access all of the things that caused a stimulation of energy, and bring those things into a session of lovemaking, of sex, of sacral energy exchange. She can do it consciously, and she could do it subconsciously. Sometimes, subconsciously is wrapped in this energy that is this frequency that is identified for so many as love. It's a high frequency, and it feels good. And then when you're having sexual intercourse and you experience this orgasmic feeling, it's love, right? Right? It's love. That's what you're thinking. And so in that feeling, you start to create. Maybe you have children. Maybe you have other ideas or other things. And so it just keeps feeling like it's right, like it's love. And then you get to a point where you recognize what it is, and you recognize the power of your vagina and what your vagina created in your reality. And then everything is just like a mirror, so that you can look at yourself and see what you've done, and not even see what you've done as, oh, dang, I jacked up. To recognize your power and recognize what you have created, and everything that you have touched, and everything that you have breathed upon, and everything that you have extended your energy to. You have had something, a result. And you're the only one that can fix it. You're the only one that could make it right. And you're the only one that knows when it's made right by the way that it feels to you. This vagina manipulation, I can speak on it in terms of a lover, right? And how we, I'm sure that you've been told that you got some really good stuff, that you're really talented with that you got these skills. And most people that have suffered or have dealt with or have experienced the path of this sexual energy and this abuse, it can get really, really interesting in the things that you become good at and are not really aware of why or how. And some things just come, and some things you just learn, and it's just it's a really interesting thing how this energy can be still used even when you're not physically using it. And so then again, here comes the power, this energy, this pussy power, the power of this vagina. It is so powerful that once it has been entered and it's been stimulated, things that happen in there are going to continue to happen, and they're going to continue to create different things. Like, people have this idea that your vagina creates children, that's it. That, oh, okay, yeah, so your vagina and your womb, that's to have a baby. No. I mean, yeah, that's one thing, but it creates everything. It creates everything. It creates everything. And so when you recognize what this means, and you sit back and you look at yourself, you're like, oh, okay. So I did that. I did that. Okay. And then that's when it really starts to make sense. Let me go ahead and start this forgiveness ritual immediately. Because the amount of people that I have to forgive, and the amount of times that I have to forgive myself for the things that I've done that I didn't know that I did. Like, that's like endless. It really is. And so this is why acknowledging this truth about yourself will allow you to get closer to that understanding, so that you can exist in this experience in a flow and not carry around these bags, this heavy weight, so that we could recognize that, see, love, this is what I've learned about love. Love is an energetic frequency, and when we feel it, we know it. There really is no word for it. I mean, people call it love, but it's more of a feeling. It's a feeling that you have, and when you're there, you know it. And we meet so many people in that frequency. But what happens is that frequency is so strong and it's so powerful, and it's so easy to manipulate when you're within that frequency, that we get it all mixed up, and we start to use it so that we can get more of it, and we don't allow it to just be. Like we start really manipulating love and saying, oh, love is this or love is that, or, well, if we experience love in this level, then we should experience love in this level forever. And that's just not the truth. That's not what it is. Men, you have vaginas too. If you check out the Grand Rising of the Matriarch, I understand she be honest. She be schooling everybody with this information that is so important for you to know. And whether you have one, or whether you're able to connect to the one that you have inside of your body, inside of your soul, or you just need to connect to the one that you lay down with every night, it is still your business to know this. It is your business to know the power of this sacred portal that you're entering into and what it does to you. Because let me tell you this. Check this out, man. With the power that the woman has when she is sharing herself and she's hurt and she's broken, she is creating that, and she is creating more of that, and she is creating that within you. And if you are not doing your healing work, you will get caught up in that mess. And you know what will happen? There's a term that they call whipped. When a man is whipped, when a man is telling a woman that her vagina is laced with gold and, different terms like that. And when a man feels like, oh, the woman, she has this spell on me. She has a spell on me because I can't, no matter what she does, I can't. That is the power of the vagina. That is the power of the womb and the woman. And when the woman is hurt, it can be a very dangerous thing. And in the world right now, we are experiencing the residual of the woman being hurt. The good thing is it's not your responsibility, men. It's not your responsibility to heal us. We appreciate the support. I like it when you just, in our conversations, you just stand by and hush, right? Respect and honor, just the way that we have done for so many of our lifetimes when our great warriors, our leaders were speaking and we just in silence supported them. It's time for you to do the same. Take your place and do what you must. Nobody's getting in the way of this healing. Not anyone. We can't even get in our own way of this healing. And I'm saying it proudly to those that are listening to this right now, because I know that if you're here, you've been on this journey for a minute. You've been waiting for me to talk about this for a long time, for a very, 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 very long time. And I'm ready. I am so ready because it is happening. So I don't want to do what I so often do and just kind of take over the mic for the whole thing. I want to share, and I want to yield the floor to I Minister Symphony and to thank her for being thank you. You know how, you go through things in your life and you don't have to say a word to people. I don't have to tell nobody what's going on for them to know what's going on. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for my wombstresses, for my mothers, for my grandmothers, for my sisters. I'm very grateful. I Minister Symphony.
We're grateful for you as well. We're here for each other through all of our trying times, And like you said, regardless to if one steps up to speak or not, we are always there sending each other high vibrations of love. Um, I know for a fact that when I've gone through my turmoil, that I've always had a sister reach out to me in one shape or form that's always been there to encourage me to one, forgive myself, and B, to forgive others, to move on, to be able to just deal with the current situation, take it moment by moment. So I'm extremely appreciative of the fact that you're able to share with us in such transparency that allows us to relate in ways that um, assist with our own healing as well.
Chair, I receive that. Minister Symphony, I appreciate your time and your effort in being present and being here. Um, we know what it is, and I just love you so much. Um, Ladies and gentlemen, we also have from the Queen Ancestral Sacral Palace, I'm Minister Oyeyemi. I'm Minister Oyeyemi, welcome. I'm going to say that I'm Minister.
Greetings.
Greetings. I'm just ready. Ache. It is completely received. Ache, gracias. Gracias, gracias. This is a divine time of celebration. And when I talk about the yoni, the vagina, the womb, I am speaking from a place of celebrating this newfound knowledge of myself. And the newfound knowledge was that, yeah, this was all of it was supposed to be just the way that it was. Every single thing, every single aspect of my life is exactly as it should be. There is no blame. There is no shame. There is no, like, all of those things. Those are just like things in the mind that start to corrupt it, that start to cancer the mind. I want to say thank you to Minister Storm Goddess. Ache, Ache. I feel you and I thank you. We're talking about forgiving yourself for abusing your vagina, for abusing your womb, for ignoring it. So let's talk about the other side of the, when the vagina is just completely shut down, when the sacral energy, when that sacral space is just shut down, it's forbidden. You can't talk about it, you can't enter it. It's wholly only for the husband, and it's belongs to him, and it can only be used in this way. And so you just try to live as high to God and righteousness as you can, and that's how you live your life. And so in this way, you have this idea that your ignorance of it, or only using it in this particular way, is like you're pure, and that makes you closer to God. And there is just nothing further than the truth, from the truth, than that. And so it's important to have a relationship with yourself, and this vagina and this womb is part of yourself. And the way that you think about yourself, that exists in your sacral chakra and your womb chakra, what you believe about yourself, all of these things are existing in there. And so when we're talking about sexually abusing yourself, these thoughts that we have about ourselves that are limiting, that are divisive, that are, jealous, that are all of these different things, these ugly thoughts that we have about ourselves exist in this space. And if we don't cleanse the space, if we don't look at it, if we don't look at what's going on in there and clear it out and heal it and nurture it, it's not going to heal itself. And so the experiences that we have in our lives are what are the residual of our past thoughts and actions, and they're opportunities for us to evolve from the situation that's plaguing us, that's keeping us blocked, that's keeping us away from ourselves. Not knowing, what is it? Ignorance is no excuse. It doesn't change the law just because you don't know. And there's a universal law, and there's laws that go with your body. There's laws that there's so many laws that exist that are just natural laws, but we don't know that. We're caught up in a matrix structure, in a patriarchal structure that was created for control. And that's done, and it's broken, and it's over, and it's, you can research it, and you can look at it, and you can go on and just be like, okay, what else is happening? And let's see, and we could vote for this person, and we can put this person in office, and we could see, all of these things exterior that we can do that's going to fix this world. That's not the solution. That's not going to happen. It has to be you. It has to be each one of us. And I was going to say, it's going to take some time, but it just really depends. It depends on where you are. You create your world. So once you decide in your mind what it's going to be, then you do your practice and you do your work every day. And then you watch it come to life. And you don't have to wait a million lifetimes. We have the knowledge here and now for all of this. Nothing that I'm saying is brand new. What's brand new is this time to be able to access it in the way that we do. And so we're being asked not to waste that illusion of time in trying to figure things out outside and trying to follow other people. There's something that I am compelled to mention because it has come up. And it is the relationship between women and sisters and goddesses and queens and, all of these different things, and these gatherings and women coming together and doing all of this work. I think that everybody that's doing what they're supposed to do, they're doing it, but everything is not for everybody. And I came into this world with that feeling of how important it is for me to do work with myself and for me to align with those that are in that same frequency with the work that they're doing on themselves. This is part of my training. This is part of why I came in the experience that I came in through. And so it is also for my ability to discern and to pick up on energy. And for some, it is to be in these groups, in these gatherings with lots of women and this divine feminine energy, and to be completely enthralled in it. So again, everyone has a different experience. But for me, just for clarity, and so people recognize what this Master Vibration 13 is and what it means, this is a solo journey. And the frequencies of the divine feminine that you are going to connect with are first going to connect within you, through you. And then as they connect through you and you nourish yourself and you do the work and you do this work with your ancestors, divine guidance, and this energy that comes to guide you, then you start to vibrate a different frequency, which starts to bring the physical energies to you. And a lot of times we live in this world of technology, right? A lot of times these energies are still within the etheric energy. They are still not in the physical form. You're connecting with them via a voice. You're connecting with them maybe sometimes via an image. A lot of times it could be just the voice. That doesn't mean that this energy is a humanoid or a human being that is here in this realm. It could very well be that this energy has enough divine power that they're able to create a force in which they can communicate. And you will know this when you are going within and you do your work with yourself and you're able to differentiate all of these different energies that are penetrating or accessing our aura, our space. But all of this work has to be done from within, and it has to be done with yourself. The influence of another woman. Look, when I'm telling you that I recognize the power of the vagina and the power of the womb and the power of what we are, I recognize it and I respect it. And that means that only when it's time for us to come together, we come together. We're not just going to be hanging out just because somebody's feeling lonely or somebody's feeling like they're bored or I think that I know that there are times for those things and for those, for people to have those experiences. And I've had those. And just where I am in my life today, it's if you're practicing energy, you practice energy. If you're being told that everything is going to come in its time and it's going to come in a way that you are not to decide what way that's going to be, you just got to release and receive it. Right? So then you have to take away all of the ideas of what things are supposed to be, and you allow for this energy to come through. And when this divine energy comes through, this divine feminine energy comes through with a powerful force you can't even imagine. Please do not be fooled by numbers that you see on a video or on a YouTube or on a Spreaker or whatever. Don't be. If you are, that's okay too. It is what it is. But recognize that the sacred divine feminine has never stopped working. It has never stopped coming together. We have never stopped talking to each other. There is a transmission that is happening with us constantly and consistently. And in this space of Master Vibration 13, this layer, and the divine feminine, and there's some divine masculine on this layer as well, have been utilizing this energy to connect and communicate with each other, to word sound, as I Minister Ojayemi would say. And so a long time ago, about 10 years ago, I talked about how we're coming into a time where language is absolutely not necessary because everything is going to go via vibrational frequency. And we're going to communicate with one another in that way. Well, we are in that time today. We are in that time right now, where you don't have to, there was a time where, okay, I make a video and you can really, see what it is that I'm saying, what it is you can feel, the energy of this room and this space, because you're seeing it. I don't have to do that. Like, you feel me. I know you feel me. I know that you can feel the expressions in my face. I know that you can feel, when I'm smiling and when I'm not. I know that you can feel my heart and you can feel my mind. And I know that you can feel my sacral. I know that you can feel it. This is the future, and it's still evolving. Like every second is evolving. So all of these ideas that have been placed upon the world of Battlestar Galactica and the Star Wars, and this is what it looks like in the future, this is what it's going to be like, and this is, in the Jetsons, they used to say the phone, and now we're seeing, the iPhone, and look what it is. Do you know what that was? That was a program to tell people, look, what's going to happen in the future, this is what we're telling you, and then when you see it, you're going to be like, see, they said that's what it was going to be. But do you know what it really is? What it really is what's inside of you all the time. It always has been. You've been creating your reality forever. You didn't know the intricacies of it. You didn't know exactly how it was happening, but you've been doing it. And maybe right now you still don't officially know, but if you're ready to know, you will. And what you will learn is that you're an infinite being, what we like to call infinionaires. We recognize that we are the money and we create our experience. You cannot co-creators. We can call ourselves co-creators. You can call it whatever it is. I know that I am not the end all be all, but I know that I am a direct extension of that end all be all. And so in that, I know that whatever it is that I desire, whatever it is that I choose, and so it is. And so all I got to do is sit back, do my work, do my practice, do my meditation, do my, my nutrients, my food for my mind, all of these things that I must do to keep my body and my spirit well. I do that and I celebrate the fact that everything that I've asked for is given all the time. And so I have to say this about forgiving my vagina for abusing it. I will never, and I can say this with my whole heart, will never abuse her again, ever, ever, ever. And that means that there will be, look, if it is not worthy energy, it is not going within me. Husband, ex-husband, boyfriend, lover, all of these different, no. And it is a choice that I make for the betterment of myself. Yes, we're all in a different space in life. I've been talking about sexual energy cleanses and sexual detoxes and people giving themselves enough time to express that, to relieve themselves of that and to really truly cleanse. And when you're ready for that, a way is going to be made so that you can do the work. And a way was made in my life so that I can do this work. So I'm very excited about it because I get to create with my sexual energy purely. I get to heal myself with my sexual energy purely. This forgiveness of my vagina, do you think that was just for today? Ay, mira que lindo. No, this is the beginning of a constant. This is the beginning of a ritual. This is a beginning of remembering myself and remembering who I am. And forgiving, knowing that this forgiveness runs deeper than the ocean. You know that's infinitely deep, right? So this forgiveness thing is not something to be cute. This is not something to be like, oh, that was deep. I Minister SEG 13. That was deep. Do you know how many deep? Look, this is as deep as you want to take it. You know what I'm saying? It's like your healing is only yours. No one can do it for you. Nobody. This entity that most people call God, is not coming down to save you. It's not happening. That same entity that people call God, that force, that powerful force that they give energy to, it definitely does exist. It just doesn't exist in the way that people think it does. But if you look inside of yourself, you're going to find that. Forgiving myself for abusing my vagina. It's like saying that it's just layers. It's just layers, and it's a lot. And, you know, I'm thinking about this lifetime. How many lifetimes have I come in this divine feminine? How many lifetimes have I experienced this abuse on myself? When you realize that everything really is about yourself and that you're the one that created everything, like, it really does make it easier to forgive. Like, there's nobody in the world that can hurt me. Nobody. And I'm not saying this from a space of, oh, I'm a badass. I mean, I'm a little bit of a badass, but it is not in the physical form, and it's not in the egotistic form of nobody can hurt me because I'm so tough and I'm so strong. You know what I'm saying? Let me just say this. I wasn't trying to be strong and tough. These are things that start to happen as you experience life. But when it comes to that place, you remember, I'm going to say one of Mr. Yemi's favorite movies in The Matrix, when Neo was bending, when he was shooting, and then he was just bending effortlessly. Like, we're looking at it in the movie as, oh, he bent over backwards effortlessly and the bullets hit him. But the energetic force of that is just our being, and our being able to, you know, move and flow with this energy that comes to so-called hurt us. You know, because once you recognize what it is, then everything changes. Your perception of everything shifts. The first thing that I ever did in 2006, I believe it was. In 2006, I started forgiving the people that had sexually abused me. Like, I forgave them. I forgave them because I started kind of recognizing who I was. And I really didn't understand fully why I was forgiving them, but it was making me feel good to be able to move forward. And what I did in that time, I was able to forgive them. And then I was able to be good enough with the forgiveness that I did. And I was able to lock it away. So I locked it away enough because, you know, compartmentalization, we're good at that. I locked it away enough so that I can continue to move forward in my path. And that was 2006. And we're now in 2023. Wait, 24. And 2024 is when I am getting the rest of the lesson. This is when I was able to go back in there and look at it again and be like, okay, I just, put a little Band-Aid on it, but I didn't really forgive you, did I? And so, it takes time. And I'm not saying that it's going to take you a gazillion years or how much time it's going to take for anybody, but I will say that you're ready for it. Whatever is happening in your life that's bringing you a so-called challenge, it's an opportunity to expand and evolve, and look at it as that. And it is going to start presenting all of the gems and all of the things that you needed to learn. And you're going to feel so good about yourself for learning those things that you didn't know, that it's really going to be like, what pain? And I'm not saying, it's transforming pain is what it is. When you're able to take these things that whenever you would think about it would scare you or make you feel like, oh, I can't talk about that. Oh, I ain't going there. Oh, my vagina. I mean, the vagina has so many things and secrets and stuff. Like, most people don't want to go there. I mean, a lot of people do, but y'all know what I'm saying. It's like this energy that exists within you that you're carrying in this sacred space all the time that we have, that is creating 24/7 with every thought, with every idea, with every action. It is moving forth and creating everything that lives in our subconscious mind. So doesn't it make sense to dig into your subconscious mind by looking at your outside and recognizing that your outside is because of you? And the only way to truly heal that is to sit with yourself and to take accountability for you, for yourself. You take accountability for that. Nobody else could take accountability for you, for you. And when people make it okay for you to be abusive, that's not cool. I found myself telling friends, don't talk about my friend like that. Don't do that to yourself. Don't, and it was so funny because it's like for so long, I'm doing that. Don't do that to your friend. Don't talk about yourself like that. Meanwhile, inside, subconsciously, who's doing that to her friend? Me. I'm doing that to my friend. My friend, me, myself. And then I'm seeing it. And I'm grateful to be able to have the capacity to get outside of myself and look and be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's you. I'm not afraid to be wrong. I'm not afraid to be jacked up. And I'm also not afraid to fix it. And it feels so good to be able to, release things and say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I forgive you. I forgive me. I forgive we. It is the best thing ever. And this feeling is, it's something like, another thing that I learned is that ecstasy and things that feel really good, like super orgasmic, with a person the way that I was, an orgasm was like a drug for me. It was like a release. The orgasm, I can have an orgasm. Are you kidding me? Then I'm creating everything. I mean, I'm flying high, and it's like you have to move away from the physical aspect of what that is and recognize that that orgasm is inside of you and you can pull it out really truly at any time. But it takes a lot of work to get into it, to get to it. And it's a lot of work that a lot of people are not willing to do. And I know that. And so I'd like to take this moment and do something that I don't normally do. I'm going to do it today. And I'm going to say, well, first of all, I want to thank our Minister Gabrielle, a.k.a. the Storm Goddess, our Minister Carla, for, we have this little private ice syndicate group that we collaborate in, and she left a song, and she said to look at myself in the mirror and sing this song. And I can't remember the name of the song right now, but I do know that I want to say it was a Lettucey song, but it was definitely a love song. And so I looked at myself in the mirror and I listened to this song, and I was just crying. I was weeping. And then she's like, okay, so now do it again and sing yourself the song. Well, I haven't gotten to that part yet, Minister Gabrielle, but I'll let you know when I get to it. So this was a very powerful thing for me, because when you are hiding, when you are putting everything and everyone in front of you, and you are, you start to do this physically. It happens in your life. And then when you uncover it, you realize that it's like, oh, I've been doing this. This is why it looks like this in my outside life, because this is what, I've been doing inside. And it is it is a fear of self. It truly is a fear of yourself and of your power and of your greatness and what it will do and how it would affect and, all these different things, but it's still subconscious. So I did that and I'm still in the process. I'm telling y'all, 2024 came in. Woo, whoopty, whoopty, whoop. I love it, love it, love it. And so I'm still in the process of this thing, of this looking at myself and healing this, my whole thing with like the little girl, like, so I looked at my little girl at the 5-year-old and I'm looking, I'm getting these things and I'm hearing, you have to heal your inner child and you have to, and real talk, y'all. Real talk, all I'm seeing is Anglo people and all of these forms of healing that people do and talk about your inner child and stuff. And, I'm just not feeling that. And so I had to just really sit with it and really look at what is this inner child to me? Like, what is that for me? Because have this conversation with your child and tell her what you think and tell her, like, I get it. I get it, what people are doing. And I also recognize that these are forms that people did that helped them. They're doing the same thing that I'm doing right now. But what I'm saying to you is that you have to find your way of healing that inner child. What is that for you? What does that look like for you? Because when you start doing things that other people are doing, that other people tell you to do, that other people, you're not getting the essence of your power and of who you are. To be able to make something out of nothing is very powerful. And this you can do. This you have done. And now it's greater. Now that power is even greater. So now what you've created in the past, oh my gosh, that's nothing compared to what you could create with just a portion of your mind aware of who you are, what you could do. Let me go into the chat because I'm in a storm. And I know we're going to wrap it up in a second. Anything for You by Lettucey was the song. And she says, most people have difficulty holding their own gaze for more than a few seconds. Ooh, oh, look, I went in that gaze. I went in. I was looking in. I felt embarrassed. I felt, how dare I look at myself for so long? I mean, it was very weird. And then I felt sorry. I had so many feelings. I felt proud. I felt encouraged. I felt just so many feelings came through with that. And see, that's another thing that's important. I mention those feelings and I say those names, but these are energy. This is labels that I call this energy that I experienced so that a person can kind of wrap their mind around it a little bit. But please release that and know that as you do this exercise, like when it was told to me to do it, it wasn't like you're going to feel this or you're going to feel that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, just do it and experience that. Some people will do it and feel nothing at all and be like, what in the Sam hell was they talking about? But, so just try it and see what it is for you. But keep trying things that stimulate you and stimulate your own way. Because what happens is that a lot of times these things that are supposed to be made so that to bring us comfort, that sound like, oh, that's supposed to sound nice, it stimulates us in another way. And for me, being a negrita, right? I had challenges with people of lighter hues, people that are the Anglos and the Europeans, and I've always had like these deep issues, and these deep issues had to do with just, treatment and different things. But I recognize in this life that I came here to heal all of that. But I'm not going to pretend that those things still don't exist in my life. And so even in thinking of that healing and thinking of the Anglo voices and the white Jesus and these, solutions coming from the quote unquote white man. Now, I'm not attached to any of these things, mind you. However, I recognize the stimulation that happens within my subconscious mind, my subconscious thought when these things enter. And what it is for me is just a reminder that I need to go to myself. It is a reminder that I already have it all. Like, I'm not mad at white angels and at white people. Y'all just got to understand this is part of my healing. This is part of the way that I do this work that I have to do for myself. But I love absolutely everyone and everything because, you see, I recognize that it's all me. I am. So how could I love myself and not love everything that came out of me? Everything that came out of me. Everything that came out of me. We have gone a little beyond our time, but we know that there is no time. But want to yield the floor to our minister Symphony. Is there anything that you would like to add, share, say?
No, I think you've covered it all as far as the topic for tonight.
Ache. So I will finish it with the mantra that I want you to remember. Healing is a feeling. There ain't no make believing. It's with you alone you're dealing. When you're on the ride to find your way back to you. Find your way back to you. You're an infinite. Find your way. Infinite. Find your way back to you.